Oh, I see Fatima is here too. I'm just taking a look at the attendees to see if I recognize some other names. Hi, Fatima. Hope you're doing well. Fatima is coming in April as, I'm sorry, in February as mobility. Um, let's see. Oh, there is Mark Ortiz. I know he has been communicating with us. All right, so welcome to this remote Balsells presentation for the next academic year. This is the second one we're doing this time. We did one at the school in Besos a couple of weeks ago, and this is actually in a way similar to what we have done when we came to Barcelona in person, because we would give all the presentations in the Campus Nord together. So the three schools from Campus Nord are here, but also we this time we also added industrial engineering from the South Campus, where we would normally go to give a separate presentation. Um, I did not see Lucas here, but maybe I went too fast. Anyway, again, welcome. Good evening for those of you in Barcelona. Good morning for those of you in Irvine. The presentation is going to be given by myself and my colleague Sergio Gago, who is with us in the meeting. I am a professor in the School of Engineering and also the director of the Balsells program. And Sergio is a professor in the School of Information and Computer Sciences and is the associate director of the Balsells program. And then I also invited two of our graduate students, Irene and Hamza, who are here in Irvine, and we're from Irene from the School of Camins and Hamza from Telecos. And so I'll give them an opportunity to say a few things at the end of the presentation. So, you know, if you're here, if you're a student and you're in this presentation, one of the things that probably you're thinking about is what are you going to do after you finish your bachelor's degree, for example, if you're doing a bachelor's degree or if you're doing a master's degree, what you're going to do after you finish your master's degree. And, you know, as engineers, which probably most of us are in the meeting today, we look for jobs. You know, there are many things to design and build in the world that require engineers, and so that's the, you know, the most common path for an engineer. You know, however, another group who is perhaps more interested in learning more, as hard as it might seem to believe, there is a lot more to learn after you finish your bachelor's or your master's. You can become more specialized. You can certainly become a leader in the field that you choose to pursue, higher education.
Roger, sorry to interrupt. Should we be looking at the slides?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. Thank you. So let me go back. Let me go back one. So the first one was the introduction. And the second one is what I was just talking about. So then, you know, if you decide to do that, if you decide to, you know, to try to become more specialized and learning a bit more, then, you know, one possibility, of course, is to go study somewhere else in Europe. Another one, which is the one that we are presenting to you today, is, you know, coming to California to pursue a graduate education. You know, we normally would ask, if we were doing a live session, you know, we would ask how many of you have had an opportunity to travel to the US. Then, maybe how many of you have an opportunity to travel to California. But, we'll skip that and continue to tell you a little bit about how this program started. So it is called the Balsells Fellowship for a reason. It was an idea of Pete Balsells, Pere Balsells, for those of you from Catalonia. It's a program that we started in 1996. His idea actually started a little bit earlier, maybe around 94 or so. So we are going to be celebrating next fall our 25th anniversary of the program. So it's been with us for a long time, perhaps longer than many of you have lived who are attending the presentation. When the program started, the Catalan government participated, and they participated in the program for many years. But a couple of years ago, they did not participate anymore. But since the program in Irvine was started with an endowment from Pete Balsells, then that endowment, continues with us in addition to other additions to the program. So we're able to continue the program even if the Generalitat is no longer participating. Pete has lived a very long and prosperous life. He is 92 years old. He's still very active. He runs the research side of the company. So, he was born in Barcelona in 28, came to the US, first to New York. He had an aunt in New York, and he came to the US when he was 18 and went to the University of Colorado Boulder, where he got a mechanical engineering degree in 1952. And then in 58, he started a company called Balsells Engineering. And you're going to hear a little bit about this from Pete himself very shortly when I'm going to show you a video. And the company's headquarters are in California, very close to UC Irvine. And there is another very large facility in Colorado. Now, he actually sold the company at the end of last year. Obviously, he's thinking about, the future, and, he's 92. So the company was sold, but he still works, as I said, as the director of research for Balsells. And he, in fact, employs some of the Balsells fellows, or the former Balsells fellows at Balsells. The program started, as I said, here in Irvine in 96. Then there was an addition at Boulder in 2010, Colorado Springs in 2013, and UC Davis in 2015. But those programs have pretty much come to an end as far as the Balsells program. There is a little bit of an activity going on at Boulder, but it's not as continuous as it is in Irvine. In addition to all his professional activities, Pete has been recognized both in Catalonia and in the US with several awards that you can see here. So make sure I do this properly. I'm going to show you the video now. In the presentation, there is a link if you want to watch the video later. I think I have to stop sharing for a moment. And then I have to show you the video by going to my Chrome tab. And you should be seeing it there. Let me know if you cannot hear it.
Uno pot pensar per ell mateix, he començat pels altres, i més carrera d'un ve un. Per mi això és molt important. Ja que no vaig poder contribuir a Catalunya, volia contribuir d'una altra forma. I com que tenia l'oportunitat de fer-ho, doncs vaig voler fer-ho d'aquesta manera.
Com una persona treballadora, convençuda de les seves possibilitats, humil i, sobretot, lluitadora.
Des del primer moment em va semblar una persona molt oberta, molt amb els peus a terra.
El que Catalunya necessita més que res és indústries d'alta tecnologia. I aquest país té moltes indústries d'alta tecnologia. Els estudiants podien venir aquí, saber aquesta alta tecnologia i transferir aquesta tecnologia a Catalunya.
A les beques Balsells accedeixo primer per informació a través del professor Roger Rangel, que és el coordinador del programa, i fa tota una sèrie de xerrades per fomentar que la gent participi a inscriure's i a demanar les beques Balsells.
Tinc alguns flaixos del moment en el que vaig rebre la beca Balsells. Entre ells recordo haver rebut un mail on la primera paraula posava congratulations, i després de tot el procés de proves i papers que havia enviat, aquella paraula va ser en plan, sembla que això sí que...
No m'ho creia en un principi, perquè vaig accedir a la web del Departament de Recerca de la Generalitat, qui donava les beques, i vaig veure que hi havia com unes 12, crec que eren 12 sol·licituds, i clar, hi havia 6 places.
I realment no crec que tingués encara la consciència del que significaria després per mi la beca Balsells.
Suposa una oportunitat de jugar a un nivell alt, de realment jugar amb un equip que té un entorn com és la Universitat de Califòrnia, que et permet estar amb companys, professors i instal·lacions de primer nivell.
Començant de zero, com qui diu, coneixent noves cultures, nova gent, noves maneres de treballar.
La manera de fer les coses també és molt diferent. És una de les coses que nosaltres podem aportar després aquí, no? Que és com els investigadors es relacionen entre ells, com l'investigador es relaciona amb els estudiants. És una manera molt diferent del que jo coneixia aquí.
Jo concretament vaig estar 2 anys. En el primer any cursant els estudis per preparar el que era la tesi del màster, i al final, el segon any, vaig tenir la sort de poder treballar en una tesi del màster amb l'estudi de les molles Balsells. Són unes molles que com a tal no deixen de ser molles, però amb una particularitat de tenir un angle a l'hora de processar-se que li donen unes propietats mecàniques, una resposta diferent a el que serien les molles clàssiques. Això us ho explicarà molt millor en Pere Balsells que jo.
Aquí, si poses una força, aquí això anirà en una direcció i en una altra. Aquesta, quan poses una força, sempre va en la mateixa direcció. Aleshores, el problema va ser fer una màquina perquè es pogués fer això. I jo vaig dissenyar la màquina per fer això. I això és un procés de prefabricació que ho mantenem molt secret.
Al final, la molla Balsells és el que ens ha portat a tots els estudiants allà.
A part de les activitats acadèmiques de la universitat, miràvem de fer coses junts, la comunitat catalana.
Jo havia tingut la sort de ser cap de coll a la Universitat de Girona. Vaig animar la gent, ens vam animar tots, i això, demanant faixes a través per Nadal, que ens enviessin de regal, vam començar a animar-nos. No només catalans, sinó teníem un pilar que era brasileny, teníem uns índios que ens feien de laterals, i vam arribar a fer pinya com a grup i assolir castells amb certa humilitat, però ferms.
La meva feina aquí ara continua sent una mica la continuació de la línia d'investigació amb la que vaig fer el doctorat. Jo treballo en cinemàtica teòrica, és una feina més aviat teòrica, i el que faig és estudiar els moviments dels robots.
I actualment estic en una línia de recerca on ens dediquem a fer dissenys de dispositius, igual que havia fet allà, i ara sí que ja tinc estudiants que, com vaig ser jo en el seu moment, que estaven treballant en projectes de recerca.
D'alguna forma, la beca segur que m'ha ajudat a estar on estic ara.
Gràcies a la beca he pogut fer coses diferents a les que hagués fet molt probablement si no l'hagués tingut.
Te n'adones que el somni americà existeix i es diu Pere Balsells, vull dir, és un símbol que el somni americà realment funciona i ha funcionat.
Sorry, Roger, I mute you because there was an echo when you were showing the presentation. You should switch on again your microphone.
Okay, can you hear an echo now?
Yes, perfectly.
No echo?
No echo, no echo. The echo was with the presentation.
Oh, yeah, all right. Could you hear more or less the presentation though?
Yeah, perfectly.
All right, so let's continue. And tell you about the opportunities that the program has. The program has essentially three components. There is a mobility component, which consists of 6 months visit that are typically to do, if you have a project to do for your bachelor's degree, you could do that research or that activity via the mobility program. Or you can do the same thing if you're working on a master's and you want to do the research related to your master's thesis via the mobility. Now, the idea, of course, is that if you come as a mobility student, that you will at least be very interested in coming back as a graduate student. Then the main part, the second one, the main part of the program is the graduate fellowship. That's when you come back for a period of, say, 3 to 5 years or 2 to 5 years because you're interested in graduate studies. And that's masters and PhDs. But in the last couple of years, we have really put an emphasis on students who want to come here to do a PhD. The reason for that is that the University of California is a research university. It's actually, as a whole, the largest public research university in the US because it has 10 different campuses. And so, a research university, just like UPC is, requires PhD students to conduct research. So we have moved to have a big emphasis on PhDs. Many times the students come first to do a master's degree and then they do a PhD with us. And then the third component is postdoctoral fellowship. That's for people who have already obtained a doctoral degree and are interested in coming for a year to participate in research with a professor, either in the School of Engineering or in the School of Information and Computer Sciences. All of these programs are within the schools of engineering and information and computer sciences at UC Irvine. To give you a little bit of a perspective of how many fellows have been through the program at UC Irvine, we are way past 200. There is a little bit of a double counting here because quite a few of the mobility fellows continue with us as graduate students. But we've had a total of 143 master's and PhD fellows in Irvine. This is including the ones who just started this fall. And we've had a total of 15 postdoctoral fellows. And we bring students from all the Catalan universities, obviously UPC being the largest university with engineering degrees in Catalonia is the largest participant in terms of contributing students, but we bring students from essentially all of the Catalan universities that have engineering degrees. I'll tell you a little bit about Irvine. You might not know much about it if you haven't been here. It's a city of about 270,000 people located in the county of Orange. The counties here are more or less what the what do you call it? What do you call Barcelona, Girona?
Provincia, right?
Provincia, right. So it's like the provinces, the counties. So Orange County has about 3 million people, and it's about 60 kilometers south of Los Angeles. It's on the coast, so it's 10 minutes away from the Pacific Ocean. There are many high technology companies located in the area. We have, of course, since you're close to the ocean, we have the beach. But we also have the mountains about an hour away, and lots of entertainment, and very happy to have won the championship, by the Lakers after many, many years of a drought for Los Angeles in basketball. Hamza is laughing because he's a big basketball fan. So we're back. The campus, as I said, the University of California has 10 different campuses. You're probably familiar with the most famous ones, Berkeley and UCLA. But Irvine is one of the 10. Irvine was founded in 1965. So it's already 45. Is that 45 or 55? 55, I guess, right? Years old, and it's a large campus. You can actually see an aerial shot here of the campus. It has a very big park in the middle, and then all the different schools are located around that big park. Engineering is, where is the engineering tower? Hard to see, right here. So this area here has the engineering buildings. We have 36,000 students, about 3,000 faculty, and we're ranked very high in US News and World Report. We've had 3 Nobel Prizes in the School of Physical Sciences, 2 in chemistry, 1 in physics. Probably the best known one is Sherwood Rowland, who won the Nobel Prize for his work on the destruction of the ozone layer. And his postdoc, if you follow this, the Nobel news, were recently out because they were giving the Nobel Prizes. His postdoc was Mario Molina, who passed away actually also like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'll tell you a little bit about the School of Engineering, and then Sergio is going to tell you a little bit about the School of Information and Computer Sciences. Engineering, here you can see a closer aerial shot of the engineering quadrant, has about 4,000 undergraduate students. These are the bachelor's students, and about 1,000 graduate students. These are the master's and PhD students. And we are about 150 faculty members. We have 6 different departments, and as a Balsells applicant, you can consider any of the 6. Biomedical engineering, chemical and biomolecular engineering, civil and environmental engineering, and then electrical engineering and computer science. There is a bit of an overlap in the computer science program with the School of Information and Computer Sciences, which is a separate school. We have a Department of Material Science and Engineering and a Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. So again, as a Balsells Fellow, if you're interested in any of these fields, the thing to do would be to go visit the departmental websites and see what kind of activities you might be interested in terms of research. We have the programs that are essentially the same that I just mentioned. It's a different way of presenting the different programs, and a little bit of recognition in terms of some programs that have received quite a bit of visibility in the news. Our program in energy and sustainability is very big. Our program in human-computer interface, and our program in cybersecurity. So I will now let Sergio tell you a little bit about the Bren School.
Thank you, Roger. Hi, everyone. So I'm a faculty in the Department of Computer Science in the School of Information and Computer Science. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the programs that we have, and also we'll explain the timeline of the Balsells Fellowship application. So the Department of Computer Science was originally part of the School of Engineering. Nowadays, it's the 2nd largest major of undergraduate major on campus. So we have grown a lot. And we added the departments of statistics and informatics. So there are 3 departments in the school. We have more than 3,500 undergraduate students, and we have almost 800 graduate students, and 100 faculty members, and still hiring this next year, which is surprising. So that kind of like shows that the strong financial situation of the school, but also of UCI, which I would like to say that from all the campuses is one that is in the best situation in terms of the crisis that is coming with this pandemic. Next slide. We have several graduate programs, which are the ones that probably most of you should be looking at. We have the general program in computer science, a specific program in software engineering. We have informatics as well, network systems, which is shared with engineering, statistics, data science, with their branches in machine learning and AI, and embedded and cyber physical systems, which was already presented from on the engineering side, because it's also a shared program with engineering, and a very popular program in human-computer interaction and design that is led by the Department of Informatics. As I say, computer science is it's very attractive, national and internationally at UCI. It is very well ranked, it's top 15 computer science graduate programs among public universities based on US News and World Report. We have also recognition on the software engineering research. We have a very popular game design program at UCI as well. And one of the advantages that we have at UCI is that we have many top game development companies around. For example, Blizzard is in Irvine. So if any of you is a gamer and have you ever played a game of World of Warcraft, the makers of that game are in our backyard. So there is a strong collaboration with the School of Information and Computer Science and that company, and other companies as well. We had Hercules also in Irvine a few years ago before it was bought by Facebook. Many tech companies around also, and a very nice environment for collaboration. Statistics received 2 of the 13 NSF Graduate Research Fellowships awarded to the statistics students nationwide in last year. So also a very strong department in the school regarding statistics courses, programs, and also research. Next slide, please. Regarding research, if you are thinking about a future PhD, a potential PhD program, in the school there are many popular research areas. The ones that, I've listed here all the current active research areas that we have. Again, we have a strong faculty body in the school, and that allows for the proliferation of all these activities with a strong support of funding from great applications to monitor and track patients, right, and symptoms. So that's one of the areas that are very powerful. Thanks in particular for collaborations, because of collaborations of the school with other schools like the School of Medicine and the School of Nursing and Public Health. Software engineering is also very powerful. As I say, the program in game development, so computer games and virtual worlds. AR, VR is an emerging field as well in the school. AI and machine learning, of course, biomedical informatics, we have a very strong group as well, and human-computer interaction. So I encourage you to go through these fields and check our website. In the different departments, there is a section for research areas with much more information regarding the faculty and the resources available for those fields. The school have just finalized a new building, which is called the Interdisciplinary Science and Engineering Building. And it's a building to allow better, well, first of all, we were running out of space, right? Because we have grown up a lot. in terms of faculty and students, but also we need more labs and more offices. And this building, it's gonna give us 113,000 square feet more to create these collaborative environments between engineering, physics, and the School of Information and Computer Science. We have also many research centers and institutes at UCI, which some of them don't belong to any school. They are independent research centers, and they collaborate with several schools. And the goal is to allow these multidisciplinary research areas that may require input from different areas or departments or schools. We can see that we have schools in optics, in materials, in information and telecommunication technology. We have transportation as well. Again, there are websites for all of these centers. I'm most familiar with the Urban Material Research Institute and the California Institute for Telecommunications and Information Technology, because it has been my home since 2012, so I can answer questions about those. INRF as well, and the others, I may also be able to answer questions, but I think you will be better if you just research yourself online about those institutes. Those institutes are important to know that they are there, because if you are going to do some research, in particular for PhD applicants, that may require specific resources, you may want to look if those resources are available in those research centers, because that allows students to actually use the resources, which is a good advantage, right, at the research environment. And now I'm going to explain the different programs that the Balsells Fellowship is offering. As Roger already mentioned, we have 3 programs: the undergraduate program, mobility program, the graduate program, and the postdoctoral program. So the mobility program is intended for undergraduate students or master students who are about to finalize their program in Catalonia. And the goal is to allow them to stay at UCI to undertake their final master thesis during 6 months. And by doing that, they can gain a much better experience, get familiar with the environment, with faculty working on areas that students are interested, and hopefully serve as a bridge for the graduate program. So we give preference, we are most interested on students who are coming with the mobility program with the intention to apply for a graduate program. There are normally approximately 5 positions per year. We prefer students coming in the spring, and there is a partial funding provided of $7,000. And one thing that you should look, if you are seriously thinking about applying for any of these programs, is get familiar with the cost of life at Irvine, because this is slightly higher than in Catalonia, in particular in Barcelona. So $7,000 may seem a lot, but if you start looking at housing cost, then you will see that you may need a little bit more. So you need to have some savings and take that into consideration. Next slide. So if you're interested in the mobility program, again, you should have the intention of applying to the graduate program, preferably. Have a strong academic record and at least intermediate English proficiency. Remember that you will need to communicate here by yourself in English, not just in the academic environment, but also to go shopping, right? Talk to other students or classmates. So it's really required. So just this interest of everyone that you feel comfortable speaking in English and understanding others. As you know, the accent is slightly different from the English that we learn in Barcelona. That kind of took me by surprise when I came here in 2012. So it took me few days to adjust, but it's okay. I mean, as long as it's as British, it's good for you, then this should be also good. The materials that you need to submit: letter of interest, your CV, and the academic transcripts in English, so we can evaluate them. If you want to know more information, there is a link to the Balsells website at UCI with more information, and all these materials should be mailed to the email shown in the slide, the balsells@uci.edu. For the students who are thinking about graduate programs, as you know, there are two possibilities. One is a master program, and second possibility will be a PhD. You can also target a PhD, which will give you a master the first 1.5 years, and then continue with research to complete your PhD program. So there are, I mean, I encourage applicants to think on PhD, because if you change your mind, it's something that still you will end up with a master program after 1 or 2 years, and still you haven't wasted your time, right? Also, a safe way to do it is starting the master program. You will take some courses, and you will do some research, around 6 months of research, and you will present your thesis. So when you think about doing one or the other, you should be thinking on the outcomes and the popular paths that enable any of these programs. So if you take a master, in general, it's because you want to find a job in industry or the government. If you are more interested in research, can be in a university or in a research center or whatever other centers allow or offer research positions, then you should be thinking about the PhD, because it will allow you the same outcomes working in industry or government, but also will open the door for academic positions. Regarding the graduate program, there is a monthly stipend of $2,300 per month. The fellowship will also cover the tuitions, the fees, and the health insurance. There is also, in addition to this monthly stipend of $2,300 per month, a travel stipend of $1,000 per year that you can use anytime during the academic year to travel to your home country. And it's also my understanding that you can use it also for traveling for research or other purposes related to the program. Although nowadays traveling for research is not an option, so probably to go back home. The total value of the fellowship, if you add up all these amounts, is $62,000 per year. So as you can see, it's a very good opportunity that will enable you a really good experience in California, in Irvine. The Balsells Fellowship is available for up to 2 years, whether it's a master program or a PhD. After that, there is always a commitment between the departments that the student will be funded some way or another. So there will be teaching assistance positions and research positions that is basically employing a fellow as an employee, right, to compensate for the cost of living and also for the tuitions and fees in the university. So there are 6 or 7 new fellowships each year. I mean, it's quite competitive because normally we have, and I'm not sure I have that data. How many applicants do we have, Roger, more or less? Around 30?
Well, it varies per year. I would say the last 3 years or so, probably between 15 and 20.
Okay, 15 and 20. Yeah, so it's still a good opportunity. So yeah, I encourage the students who have some interest to apply it's a good adventure. Regarding the postdoctoral fellowship, and I should say that I former postdoctoral fellow myself. I came in 2012. I studied industrial engineering in the UPC when it was in Campus Sud.
It's still there.
Still there? Some of them, right? I think so, half of the faculty is now in the other. So I finished my PhD in engineering, product engineering, and I applied to one of these postdoctoral fellowships because I really wanted to have an experience in the States, and I was excited about working with some faculty here. So I got that opportunity 8 years ago, and it was very successful. So I'm really grateful for this fellowship. So again, if there is any current PhD student that is watching this presentation, again, it's a real good opportunity to have the opportunity to do research at like first year level, depending on the field that you are in. This fellowship also very interesting. It gives a monthly stipend of $4,150 per month. And again, the cost of living here is slightly higher, so I don't think that you are gonna buy a supercar with this stipend. So it will, by experience, I can tell you that it will cover all your expenses, and it will also give you some room to save for traveling and have better experience here. It also covers health insurance, depending on whether you come by yourself or with family. The range of coverage is between $10,000 and $25,000 per year. There is also a travel stipend, of $1,000 per year, and the total value of this fellowship is $75,000 per year. And you may be thinking, well, this is much higher than the graduate program, right? How is that? Well, a postdoctoral fellowship is actually an employee. So if you come as a graduate student, most of the time you are going to be studying. So you are hired or supported 50% of your time. If you are a postdoctoral fellow, then you are working full-time 100%. And that's why there is a union that regulates the amount of salary that postdocs get at UCI, so at UC in general. So that's why this is much higher than the graduate fellowship. And the program is offering up to 2 fellowships each year. So in general, who can apply to the Balsells fellowship programs? Well, there is always kind of a gray area, but officially we will say that Spanish citizens who are residents in Catalonia and speak English, Catalan, and Spanish, and are graduates from a Catalan or other European universities majoring in engineering or related fields. And again, if you don't match these requirements 100%, it's always good to ask, right? Because there are always some exceptions, particular exceptions that we can go over them with you if that happens to be your case. In terms of admissions, the requirements that are established by the university, but there is, well, first of all, I should say that to be able to participate or to apply for a Balsells fellowship, you first need to be admitted to the university. And the university has an admission policy for graduate programs that is established by the admissions office at UCI and also the admissions office UC statewide, and we need to be compliant with that. So in order to apply to UCI, UCI requires an undergraduate transcripts that need to be submitted, the original and a translation in English. The GRE scores, although this year, because of the pandemic, some programs are waiving this requirement. So please check the specific program to see whether you need that requirement or to submit those scores or not. You need also to submit English scores, proving that your level of English is good. 3 letters of recommendation that, again, should be highlighting how good you are working independently and as a researcher or potential researcher. And again, that you are able to think beyond the formal courses that you have taken, of thinking out of the box, right? Critical thinking, abstract thinking, etc. Right? So we are looking for those characteristics. And then you need to submit a statement of purpose that is basically a statement selling yourself. So you need to explain how you are prepared for this graduate program, specifically the graduate program that you are applying, what kind of interest targets you have, why you actually want to pursue that degree, why you will be a good fit for that program, and also include, please, your personal history of like environment that help us understand why you have decided to apply to the university and to that specific degree.
Let me just add that if you, since this is for the application to the university, the Balsells program is happy to take a look at your statement of purpose before you actually submit it, to make sure that you have prepared something that it will look strong in the eyes of the different review committees of the different departments.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and Roger is very familiar with those committees, so he can really provide good feedback. So in terms of timeline, if you want to apply for the graduate program, this presentation is happening now in October 2020. So if the GRE is required, you should take the GRE, but also the English exams, whatever, you need to just take one, the TOEFL or the IELTS. And you should have them completed by December 2020, because you need to complete your graduation to UCI it varies depending on the program, but normally the deadlines go from December to January. So just make sure you are aware of those deadlines and you take those exams with enough time. The admissions decisions by UCI will be released on March 2021. And if there is, then if you have it admitted as a requirement for the fellowship program, the decisions on funding will be announced in May 2021. And then the term starts in September, although this year was October, right? But you need to count about late September coming at UCI. The timeline for mobility and graduate program will overlap with the graduate program, of course, but assuming that you are finalizing your program at in Catalonia, and whether it's an undergraduate or a master program, again, this presentation is this month in 2020, you will apply for the mobility program in February, and you will start the mobility in fall or spring. And then you will start the timeline of the graduate program. So you will take your GRE and English exams by December, but not this year, the next one, right? Because this year you are applying for the mobility, and complete the graduate application again December 2021 or January, depending on the program. And again, admissions decisions by March and funding by April, and then fall term will start September in 2022. If you want to know more about these official exams or the requirements and the steps to apply to UCI, to different graduate programs, you can check these links that goes to the different official websites with all that information.
And now I want to give a few minutes to both Irene and Hamza. Here is a little bit of an introduction of each one of them. Irene, as I said, graduated from the Civil Engineering School in Campus Nord. And she came here, I'm going to guess it was 2016 as mobility, 17? 17, yes. Okay, so she came in 2017 as a mobility fellow and stayed with us as a master's student and currently a PhD student. And Hamza is more recent. Hamza came as he's from telecommunications, or he graduated from telecommunications, and he came as a mobility student this past spring. So he actually was here when the pandemic arrived, and he can tell you a little bit about that if anybody is interested to know about how. And of course, Irene too was affected by the pandemic. And he has just returned this fall. They're probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago maybe. So he's starting his master's program, and the plan is for him to stay also as a PhD student. So maybe Irene, if you want to say a few things.
Sure. So I would ask everybody to raise their hands if they have been on Erasmus or something similar, if they have left the country, but I guess nobody would put their camera on, and I won't know. But if you haven't done so, I strongly recommend it. And honestly, I wouldn't have dared when I was in my undergrad studies to go to the United States, because it's so far away, it's so different. You have all these ideas in your mind that it's hard, it's all the best universities are there, it's going to be, and that's not true. So I did my Erasmus in Europe, and then I decided to do, during my master's, the thesis, I wanted to go away again. So I decided to apply to the Balsells Fellowship. And I loved it here. UPC and in general, I guess any other Catalan university is preparing you well. So you are a strong candidate, you are knowledgeable, you won't suffer, you are well prepared in math, in anything. And it's the opportunity to go beyond the classes and really like ask questions that you want to answer. Like if you have research interest, or you want to do a master thesis on something new and you have new ideas, it's a perfect place to do this. And it's a great opportunity to be in a different country, working with very international environment. Like a lot of Asian people are here, and you learn from many cultures. You can travel around. There are many national parks that are like a weekend away. You can go for the weekend now. Most of them are closed because of COVID, but before that, you could travel over the weekends to many different places. What else?
Don't travel if you have exams.
Don't travel if you have exams. No.
Stay here to study.
You still need to study, of course, and the system is different. Maybe it's more like continuous. There are lots of homeworks. You need to prepare that. You need to submit it. There's somebody grading it, and eventually, if you're a PhD student, you will be grading students. So it's a very close environment. I meet with my advisor every week, both before the pandemic and now, and it's I don't know. It's a great experience, and I would recommend it to anybody. So don't have these doubts that I had because I was too young. I just try it. And if Hamza wants to add anything, and I'm here also to answer any questions that you have, more like personal experience or whatever. So
okay, Hamza.
Yeah, so I was a telecommunications student, and I came here for mobility just when the pandemic did hit. But my small experience before that happened was really, really good. I came here really scared because, I don't know anyone, I'm gonna feel alone. But there is a really a good community of Balsells, like more veteran Balsells here, who are willing to help you. And if you ever come and you have any question, you can ask me too. There is a really famous guide also, full of information that some of the Balsells have filled, and with more specific information. And then since the pandemic hit, I haven't traveled as much, but the experience on research, I think it's really, really valuable. I did my internship on a consultory, and I didn't like the type of life or this type of work. So if you are doubting of this, the mobility program is a really good tryout experience. And then that made me decide to come here and study for the master's and the PhD. So whatever questions you have. And as Irene said, I think that's really a really important aspect is that we are capable, we can come here and do good work, putting the effort necessary to.
Thank you, Irene and Hamza. And I think I want to re-emphasize that point. In 25 years that the program has been with us, the Catalan students have a very high reputation. So that goes to say that the education that you're receiving at UPC is a very strong education. I realize that this also might mean that you feel more pressure because you think, well, now because very good students have gone there. But I think if you have always had a strong interest in your studies, you are probably a very good student. So again, any of us will be very happy to answer questions. And I'm going to take a look here at the chat. Eduard was asking about mobility for this coming February. Well, you probably saw the answer already. We already admitted the students that are coming in February. And of course, the pandemic had a big impact on this because normally we would bring, say, about between 5 and 6 students in the spring and maybe 2 or 3 in the fall. So we didn't bring any mobility students this fall because, if they're going to be here for 6 months and we're still working mostly remotely, it didn't really make a lot of sense to bring mobility students this semester, this quarter. We did bring the graduate students. Hamza is one of them who came as a graduate student this fall. And then we only admitted a very small number for the spring. So because we don't know, we could, we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic. We're doing much better in California, in Orange County in particular, in terms of the numbers. But, we didn't want to take a chance to bring 5 or 6 students and then have, some sort of a lockdown and that be a problem. So, but again, we're now talking about the next academic year. So mobility and graduate and postdocs for the 21-22. Let's see. Javi Gual is asking about extending to other UC universities. No, that's not possible because, as I said, this is based on an endowment. Is the primary source is an endowment from Pete Balsells that was given to UC Irvine. So, other universities, of course, have other fellowship programs, not the other UC universities have other fellowship programs. So if you're interested in another UC university, you would have to go through whatever, admission channels they have and whatever fellowship programs they have. Let's see, Arnau is asking about biomedical engineering, specifics about some areas, could give me an idea about their current research. Best way to answer your question now is go online, go to the website for the Department of Biomedical Engineering. Take a good look at what the different professors are doing. Then, really you spend hours, I would say, reading about their research, maybe going farther into papers published by the professors. That is the best way of anybody to become familiar with research activities. And I think, unless I miss one, that's all I see for now. I'm sorry, Eduard, that you're sad about missing February 2021. Anyway, don't get disappointed. life throws obstacles at you. You have to figure out a way of overcoming them. Anybody else has a question? And like Irene said, you know, we all speak, well, my Catalan is I can understand Catalan very well, and I can say a couple of things, but you can ask in any language. If you don't feel comfortable at this point writing in English, you can write in Catalan or in Spanish. And I saw that one other Balsells fellow was in the chat, but I think he left.
Jordi left, yes.
Jordi? Yeah, Jordi.
Yeah, Jordi Ventura. Right. I saw him leaving.
He probably left because I thought he was going to ask him to speak. So he's actually an interesting case. Jordi Ventura came here as a mobility student a couple of years ago and applied and was accepted and received a Balsells Fellowship for this year. But he chose, you know, we give the option to stay home to our students. So he actually is a full-time student here this year, and he's a Balsells fellow. But this quarter, he is remote. So he's taking his classes and everything from Catalonia. All right. The session will be uploaded. That's a question for Jose.
Yep.
You're recording it?
I was, yeah, it's being recorded. Will be uploaded, both the slides and also the session, the recorded session.
Somebody's saying that Jordi will come now. I don't know about the $1,500. What is that? $1,500?
Yeah, this was answering the question about which could be approximately the monthly cost of life in California.
Oh, per month? Well, it depends on where you live, of course. So that's a good question, actually. When Sergio said that the cost of living is higher, it's mostly the housing, right? I think food is probably about the same. I don't know. Irene is shaking her head. Is it more expensive here? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I obviously don't have a, you know, good information, even though I've been to Barcelona a lot. Maybe they take me to expensive restaurants when I go to Barcelona. So anyway, I think, for example, a room in a house in this area, very close to the campus, within walking distance to the campus, a room in a house is probably nowadays $800 a month, maybe. Yeah, 8, 9, depends on.
A little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, it's around 1,000.
Yeah. So, for example, the mobility program gives you $7,000 for 6 months, which is what, about $1,200 per month. Most of that will probably go for the housing, right? For the room. And so that's why you need to have a little bit more, you know, and what is a little bit more depends on how you want to live, I guess. But a few $100s more per month, you probably need to have some, you know, decent standard of living. Now the graduate fellows, we give them $2,300 per month. Some of them, depending on the situation, might get a little bit of taxes deducted. So let's say that they have $2,000 per month left. That's, I think, plenty, because another important aspect is that if you are admitted to a PhD program, the university guarantees that you have housing on the campus, and the student housing is cheaper than the private housing outside the university. So correct me if I am wrong, Irene and Hamza, but I think the $2,000 or so that you would have should be plenty to live, and like one of you said, maybe save a little bit for your travel.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's about the money.
Yeah. The graduate housing varies between $400 to $850 per room, more or less. So it depends if you get lucky. The more expensive is also the newest apartments.
Yeah, there are many
But-
housing communities on campus, maybe at least 5 or 6 different housing communities. I don't know how well you can see this picture, but they are kind of around. I am kind of thrown out here. Where is engineering? Engineering is here? No, engineering is... This is an older picture. Maybe we're missing a building or two. Oh, engineering is here, I'm sorry. So actually, you can actually see where the faculty housing, there is also housing. I'm actually speaking to you from a house somewhere around here. And then the student, this is part of the student, one of the student housing communities right here. And maybe out here, there is another one. And I don't know where the other one might be, maybe around here. So there are several of them. And like Irene said, the housing costs depends on which community you are assigned to. If this is one of the newest ones, it's more expensive. Let's see, Jordi will come now. Victor is saying that he graduated from UPC. He's gonna work full time. Can I apply for the program next year? Yes. As long as not many years have passed between your graduation and when you decide to go back to graduate school, it should be no problem. Usually, you know, maybe if students want to try a little bit what their work life is and they work for 1 or 2 years, they may decide that that was not for them and they want to go back to school, so you can apply. We used to say that up to 5 years, and I would say that's probably the case. That was actually a requirement that when the Generalitat participated in the program. The problem if you wait more than that is that your ability to perform well as a student decreases with time. So if you, oh, John left. If you haven't taken exams in a long time, you will struggle. Let's see. Joanne is saying that he has to leave. All right. Anybody else has questions? Javi, you have a question. So Boulder, Boulder participated fully in the Balsells program until 2 years ago. Last year, they converted what they would call, you know, their Balsells program to something that they called a Europe Colorado program. Obviously, they don't have an endowment from Balsells, so they relied very strongly on the Generalitat and some additional money that the Balsells Foundation gave us all. Since they don't have that, they are acting still in some sort of a transition process. So I think this coming year, the 21-22 year, they will have some money for Catalan students. But again, it's not a steady situation. So best thing to do is to reach out to them if you're interested in going there. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer specific questions. All right. If there are no other questions, again, you know, if you have questions that you want to ask the program, you can write to this address. You can also contact both Sergio and myself. You can find our emails in the website, in the Balsells website. And if you want to reach out to Irene or Hamza, I'm sure they will be happy to answer. Oh, another question popped up. David Bonnet, conduct the master's thesis in September of 22. Yes, it is possible. we said, it's not the preferred semester to start, but some students, depending on how their program is going, do their thesis in September. So the answer is yes. Now, here's the address for Hamza and Irene. Thank you. David, I think I've seen your name before. Did I, were you interested in ICS? David Bonnet? Anyway, that name rings a bell.
He was connecting to the audio, I think.
Oh. All right. Anyway, if you're if I'm right and you're interested in ICS, then reach out to Sergio.
Yeah, I'm answering his email as we speak.
Oh, okay. So yeah, my memory is not bad. Yeah, I contacted Sergio a few days ago. All right. Now there was another student, I guess. I don't know if he's still here. Who... I think he's not here. There was a FIB student that was interested. Okay, so I think maybe that's it. If there are no more questions, we can end it. We're already past the hour, so I want to thank everybody for attending, and Jose for hosting the meeting, and everybody else on the UPC side who helped us put this together. We're very thankful to them, and so I hope that we hear from some of you. Another question: apply for mobility for the master's thesis. I assume that means to start in September of 21, and the answer is yes. That's the same question pretty much that David had. Mm-hmm. So yes, you can still apply to start anytime in the 21-22 academic year. That's what this presentation is for. All right, I guess shall we sign off?
Thank you very much, Roger. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, all the participants, Irene, Hamza. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. As we commented, we will upload here at the UPC server. We will distribute the link of this recorded presentation and also the slides as soon as we have the updated copy. Thank you very much. And yeah, all the best next year.
Thank you. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.